It's okay to use the word died or die or death. I don't like some of those euphemisms, really. I think they're sugarcoating a problem that's a natural event for everybody. My name is Ian Becke. I'm originally from Australia, born in Sydney, and I've lived in this country since 1973. I'm a medical doctor, but retired now. I'm married and to my lovely wife, Bonnie, who keeps me going. We have 3 sons and 5 grandchildren, and we live in the Seattle area.
Yeah. Well, how long has this been?
Yeah, I hope you're prepared.
Are you prepared?
Yeah.
Slow, my commands will be slow, particularly moving it on land, because remember how heavy these are.
I started rowing about 5 years ago, and that was my primary exercise at that time. It was a really good organization that I joined, and I met a bunch of people who have been part of my main support system.
We're moving down.
And in.
I've been looking at the average age of some of the people who are rowing there, and I'm not the oldest by any means. It's recreational rowing, it's not competitive.
Double!
It's a wonderful organization, and the group of people that I row with, at least, have been incredibly supportive. But I had to stop rowing a year and a half ago when I got this diagnosis, because I tend to fall out of the boat, and that's not always good, So I haven't rowed, but I still stay in touch with all these rowers on a very frequent basis. They've been wonderful, let me tell you. I got lucky somehow.
So maybe this is a good spot for you.
Hi there.
What we've been doing in here.
Okay, everybody, come and get it. We're going to get our food and drink and then sit down and start our celebrating.
I suppose you're wondering why I've called you all here today.
Yep.
Not Gertie. Ian is definitely wondering why. We've been enjoying this time together with coffee and walking and rowing and whatever. And today we are starting the special month of March and have an announcement that Rob would like to make.
Well, I don't know how many of you know that I had donated the skiff, a little river skiff, to the rowing club. It was actually given to me by one of our clients, which was a pretty special thing to begin with. But I donated it to the club, and it's been kind of kicked around, and we used it, actually several times. Took Ian out for a row, and with Jeanette assisting. And
Jeanette's right there on the screen.
I see her.
Hi, Jeanette.
And not too long ago, I felt like if this boat is going to become more of an active boat and part of the inventory of Bainbridge Island Rowing, it deserves to have a name. And so I'm thinking about naming it the Ian Becke.
Yay!
Oh, that's sort of flattering.
I think we should take a vote right now. All in favor, say aye.
Thank you, but I was thinking that it should be the Rob Smallwood.
You know, we've got Poseidon and Neptune are one of the same, you know, to satisfy as well. So we don't want to mess with you know, the
Well, thank you so much. That's very flattering.
Well, we're looking forward to getting that in gold leaf on the stern.
That's right. Oh, that's very cool. Thank you, Wolf.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you.
And thank you, Rob, for donating in the beginning.
Yeah.
So if a boat is named after a man, is it a her or is it a what?
Oh, I think it's still a she.
I think it's, in your case, I
Transgender?
think it's a they, you know.
Very clever.
Bonnie prepared a graphic for us today. You can take a look up at the screen.
Oh, look at that.
Ian and Jeanette rowing in the Ian Becke.
At least they're visible on the water.
Yes, indeed.
And that day of rowing, we had a special launch driver, Reg Campbell, and I thought you might even like to say a few words about either Ian or the...
You don't want to know what I want to say about it.
Are we saying things about one another? It's better said after a few more
A few more champagnes.
glasses of real champagne.
Well, Ian and I have been friends for about 25 years and worked together at Group Health in Kaiser Permanente and
Harrison.
at Harrison, yeah. And he always knew that at some point I wanted to get back into coaching again when I retired. And so he laid it down in front of me so that I had no choice but to come out and be a part of this incredible organization. It's been the gift of my life to be able to get back into coaching again and be able to coach the Masters. The one thing I wanted to add about this boat that is unique to the boathouse, besides the fact that it's so easy to row, is that it doesn't require a wet water launch. You can actually launch it from the floating dock that's too high for the racing shells, but it's perfect for this. So people don't have to get wet in order to get in the boat, which I think will also be a big plus. Yes.
I much prefer to, when I got out of it, you know, one day we were at the shore there, and I stepped out and just disappeared. The water was deeper than I thought.
Yeah, we did swimming therapy
That's
for
right.
Ian that day, not just row a boat therapy.
Well, yeah, because it's a great opportunity for us having a tool like that for making this sport much more accessible to people who maybe are not sure that this is what they want to do. They can get in it and they can feel safe, they can feel successful early on. Nothing worse than trying to put someone in a single their very first time on the water, because that is a guaranteed float test. And so I'm thrilled to have that in our arsenal of devices that can introduce more people to this sport.
Yeah, for the community, absolutely.
Well, I'd just like to say, even though I am not a rower, I'm sort of an honorary member now because we've been meeting for so long, at least once, if not twice a week. And I know what this club has meant to Ian and to me, at least through the last 2 years. So for you to sort of memorialize him in that way, for me anyway, it's incredibly touching, and I thank all of you for that. It's a really lovely thing to do. Thank you so much.
And I also want to say that since I've been unwell, the joy that the members of the rowing club have given me and Bonnie has just been overwhelming. You guys have gone out of your way to include us in everything possible. Stay in touch, come and see us, and just give us up-to-dates on all the things that you're doing. It's meant a lot to us, and I had no idea that all these people that I didn't really know all that well necessarily would just reach out and just become part of the extended family almost. It's been a really heartwarming experience for us. So thank you.
Great.
One of the things I've learned about Ian over the years is that he may have his dark moments by himself when he's trying to deal with all this, but the social impact of his relationships with all of you are beyond measure.
It's like therapy. Having people interact with you and spend time with you in a genuine way, it's better than any kind of therapy. And it's always something we look forward to. Isn't that right? Yeah. So thank you all. Thank you all.
We'll send you a bill.
Well, gosh, there's Ian thanking us, and my toast was to thank Ian because it's really because of Ian that I've been able to come out of my shell.
You're right.
You all have known me as a shy wallflower before Ian. And when Ian got in a boat with me, he started to really encourage me to talk more in the boat. Come on, Joe, say something. And it's only because of Ian that I ever open my mouth when I'm in the boat. So
The only reason I opened my mouth was tell her to shut up. But I want to thank Jo too, because she's the one who organized the card writing and staying in touch program when I first got sick. And I don't know whether you know, but when
well, they all sent you cards.
And which he still has.
I got a total from the rowing club and its members, a total of, I think, about 100 cards and presents and notes and packages and all sorts of stuff. It was amazing. And I've kept a list of them all, and it really is overwhelming when you think about it. And the postman there's down in Phoenix, he was getting a hernia because one day one of these packages showed up. It was a really heavy box, but it was a manifestation of everything that Jo had organized with you guys, and I'm sure she cracked the whip and said, "Your turn. You got to write this week." You know. In any case, it was a very meaningful thing. It still is. Thank you. And you know, Jo is someone who must be obeyed, and, in a good way. Thank you.
Speaking of gifts coming in, Karen Maddock and
Yes.
Beth Keegan were quite new to the club. Another Aussie, Karen.
Right. You all know Karen, I'm sure. Shortly after I was in the hospital down there, picked up one of these big packages from Karen and Beth, and it was an Australian package of things like Vegemite. One of my favorites, and the good news about it, you can keep it forever. And Australian candies and cookies and funny books and all sorts of stuff. It was incredible. And this happened within a week or so of me being in the hospital. It was quite meaningful. And I've still got some of the Vegemite if you want to try it. So, you guys are like an extended family. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers to Ian.
Here's to Ian and the Ian Becke.
You put some right here.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And to a boat, you don't have to
You're hiding in plain sight.
Exactly, to the boat, we don't have to carry.
Thank you so much, all of you. Your friendship and love is much appreciated. And I say love because I know it is.
Yeah, it is.
All right, let me give you a tour of the table. Maybe that'll help you.
How are you?
I'm doing a social media. It's a good day.
All right, let's begin. Good morning and welcome to the launching of the Ian Becke. We've got special guest Bonnie Beck here representing the family this morning. We planned for Ian to be here today, but though through this whole cancer journey, he has not wanted a focus or a fuss to be made over him. So he departed this earthly life before today. And I'm pretty sure he sent today's cold, blustery weather so we'd keep our comments brief today.
The thing about Ian that most of you would know is that he was completely energized by people. Ian could be having the worst day possible, and people in his life coming to visit him would turn him around completely. When he had originally talked to me about coming out here to Bainbridge Island, I was not sure that I wanted, because I live in Bremerton, that I would want to make the trip all the way out here. And besides, you Bainbridge Island folks are a little bit snobby, and especially for us folks in Bremerton, you know. And when he was diagnosed, my wife and I made the trip down to celebrate his birthday shortly after his diagnosis. And when I saw the stack of envelopes this high, the boxes, the gifts that came from the members of this organization, it was at that point that I said, boy, I was completely wrong. This is an amazing community, and it's a community that is incredibly supportive of everyone who's a part of it and welcoming. And I think that Ian was incredibly fortunate to have found all of you, just as I think you guys were fortunate to have found Ian. He's a remarkable man. And the only other thing I really wanted to share about him was, you know, you all saw the rower, the great guy that he was over the 25 years that I've known him. When he was a physician with Group Health, when he first came to work at Harrison, and I worked at Harrison with him. He is the single most revered physician, I think, who ever came out of that organization. You can't run into anybody who ever worked with him at Harrison who didn't feel like he was the best doctor they could have possibly been a part of. And none of it was fake. An incredibly remarkable man, an incredibly well-lived life, cut tragically short. But even though he wouldn't want to make a big fuss about having his name on this boat, I know he was very, very proud of having that happen, and feels such an enduring connection. And through him, I feel that same connection with this organization as well. I couldn't be happier to be part of this group. And I apologize for any assumptions I'd made about Bainbridge Island prior to.
No, they were all true too.
Get him on.
It wasn't really that tough to come up with a name, obviously. It's all about friendship, friends. I personally have never been with an organization that garners friendship more than this one. I know that that's where our friendship with Ian came from. Everybody is so caring and thoughtful and helpful and willing to be part of the team. And of course, that's what it's all about when you're rowing as a team, except when you're down to port. And I hope that when we're on the water and we see the Ian go by, hopefully not down to port, but that we'll all remember him and think of him and remember our friendship with him and how close we all are. And let's keep all the friendships going. It's a wonderful thing.
Have you ever christened a boat, Bonnie?
Well, there's a first time for everything.
You might have to help me with this bottle.
All right.
I don't want to damage this gorgeous boat, but so I'm going to try and hit it on this metal bit. On this.
Oh, and let's all raise our glasses to Ian Becke. Woo!
One more time. That'll bluff out.
by the end of the day.